Welcome to News Now, Alberta. This is Special Ed. Today we are looking at an officer that's being harassed by his fellow officers for protecting a pregnant woman.
Black cop sent racist image by colleague after defending a woman. Here are the details, folks. Chicago police officer Anthony Banks stepped in when he witnessed a pregnant woman being assaulted and harassed by another officer. That cop and others retaliated against Banks for intervening. And we do have a it's a graphic image sent to that officer. Same cop, other cops then retaliated against the Black police officer back at the station, surrounding him, preventing him from walking away while calling him racial slurs, telling him, go back to where he came from. That's according to a lawsuit filed Tuesday, federal court against those cops, obtained by Atlanta Black Star. When Banks reported the incident to a commanding officer, well, I'm sure that ended it, right? I mean, you tell their superiors, and that's going to get people in trouble. The lieutenant dismissed his concerns, telling Banks that the other cops were angry at him because he intervened on behalf of the pregnant woman. Duh. Lieutenant offered Banks to leave his shift early, but then called him as he was driving home to return to the station to fill out a form documenting the alleged intimidation.
So the cop that's being harassed, that's taking on racial slurs and all kind of stupid stuff, is the one that has to go home early.
Banks claims, stating the document was leaked by an unknown Chicago officer. I mean, this sounds like a setup. That's just an opinion. Altercation that led to the retaliation. Well, let's tell you about it. Lawsuit states Banks observed a heated exchange between a pregnant woman and a cop whose name remains unknown. Plaintiff observed the defendant, unknown officer, bump into the woman, which escalated the confrontation, the claim states. Plaintiff attempted to de-escalate the situation, stepping between the defendant, unknown officer, and the pregnant woman, asking the defendant, unknown officer, to calm down. Good. I'd thank my colleague for that. Everybody has a bad day once in a while, but this. Attorney Horowitz telling ABC7 that Banks told the other cop, why don't you distance yourself and, give her some room. That didn't go well. Other cop who confronted Banks later that day at the police station accusing him of, quote, interfering with his team.
Interfering with his team is the same thing as stepping in front of his gang members. Why did he have to bump into the pregnant woman? Just to escalate, just so the pregnant woman does something that they can arrest her for.
And the intimidation continued the following day after one of the cops emailed him a racist image on his department-issued phone, Banks claims. We do have the image. We're going to show it to you. And just pathetic. It depicted a caricature of an African American man with a gun in his mouth reading, when is a N-word the most frustrated? When he tries to blow his own brains out, the claim states. And just look at the image, the depiction of a Black man. Never mind the vile, disgusting. This isn't just racist, right? This is violent. I think this is violent too.
Cops have arrested people for threats for less than this. This looks like a threat to me, and a very, very racist image.
Statement from Chicago attorney Blake Wolf Horowitz. The image is the most racially perverse photograph of how an African American can kill himself, Horowitz told ABC7. It is a 1950s Mississippi type of representation. More about the suit. It describes the rest of the retaliation against Banks. Several more cops then surrounded Banks, letting him know he was not free to leave. Go back to where you came from, one cop said. Another cop told him, go back to the 3rd District, which the lawsuit describes as having predominantly African-American officers. Nah, N-word, another cop mumbled under his breath. 2 police sergeants who witnessed the intimidation then intervened, telling the cops to stop intimidating him. Banks reports. Banks then reported the incident to Lieutenant Harrow, who dismissed his concerns, sending him home early. He then took a medical leave of absence due to, quote, emotional distress, trauma, fear for his safety, the claim states.
He could be in fear for his safety. He knows he's not going to get backup from these guys.
Banks returned to work on July 1, but was transferred to the police department's 6th district, ABC 7 reported. Listed as defendants in the lawsuit along with the city of Chicago are Lieutenant Nero and 2 cops with the surnames Venegas and Walter, as well as several unnamed officers, including a sergeant. However, Nero is actually Lieutenant Neri Haro, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. Lawsuit accuses the cops of violating Banks' Fourth Amendment rights by surrounding him, preventing him from walking away, as well as racial discrimination and false imprisonment.
So he's the one that gets transferred. He's the one that gets all the bad stuff happen because the other cops are racist. Why aren't they suspended or fired?
Serious in so many ways, this is dangerous in so many ways. If any of this is true, damages, and I don't know why people like this are on the force or even being defended. Miles, I wouldn't want to work alongside people who I needed for backup, assistance, and perhaps a life-threatening situation. I wouldn't want them backing me up. I wouldn't believe they would if I were Mr. Banks, who filed this lawsuit. Your reaction?
I think all these cops should be suspended or fired or charged, even. People have been charged for a lot less. What do you think of this? What do you think this black cop deserves? What do you think the racist cops deserve? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.